Okay, on this video we are going to do the questions I've received from 8-2 Form G. Those are problems numbers 3, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So let's start with number 3. I think I told you guys in the notes, I think your best move for all of these is to create like a little table. So x equals, and x radical 2 equals. So remember, these two represent your legs, and then this will be your hypotenuse. So you have to look at the picture and figure out what are you given. Well, in this case, I'm given the hypotenuse, and again, I know that because it is opposite of the right angle. Okay, so on my table, the x radical 2 is the hypotenuse. So the 11 radical 2 goes where the hypotenuse is, which is x radical 2. So I need to solve for x. Well, straightforward here. To solve for x, divide both sides by radical 2, and the radical 2's cancel. So your length of your leg, which was y, is simply just 11. The radical 2's cancel. Okay? Let's take a look at number 11 is next. And these are all kind of similar. A square has a side length of 95. What is the length of the diagonal of a square? Well, again, the one thing we know about a square is that when you draw the diagonal, these were 90-degree angles. The diagonals bisect the opposite angles. So half of 90 is 45. So when I do this, this angle's still right. This side length is still 95. That tells me that's a 45-degree angle. So these are a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So again, if you want to make your table, they're asking for the hypotenuse. Well, the legs for both of these are 95. And then to find the hypotenuse, you take whatever the leg is, which was 95, and you attach radical 2 to it. Okay? Number 12. A square has a diagonal length of 13. So this is the worst case scenario. So again, we know in a square that when it's drawn with a diagonal, it creates a 45, 45, 90 triangle. But in this case, I'm telling you the diagonal is 13. Okay? And that's meters. So this is the one that's going to change the unit on you. It's going to ask you to convert from meters to centimeters. So let's do the conversion at the end. Let's just figure out the length of the side first. So if this is 13, okay, go to your table, x radical 2. And I'm told that my hypotenuse is 13. So this is the worst case scenario. You're given the hypotenuse, and the radical 2 is kind of hidden. So to solve for x, we're going to divide by radical 2. And again, I'm allowing, given the circumstances, you to keep your answer as 13 divided by radical 2 for both of your legs. Okay, this is the length of a leg. When you type that into your calculator, it will give you roughly 9.19. And again, that's in meters. Okay, I don't want the answer in meters. The question's asking to the nearest centimeter. How long is that? We'll simply multiply that value by 100. Okay, and again, you know that because I'm sure you learned this in physics or chemistry or something. King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. This is your centi. Base is where your meters are. Okay, for me to go from meters to centimeters, I move 2 spaces to the right. So move your decimal 2 spaces to the right, or times by 100 to get approximately 919 centimeters. Okay, and again, I'm not going to test you on your conversion. That's not my job to teach you that. That's chemistry and physics and all those places. So as long as you can figure out, really what I want is you to know how to do this. If you can do that, we're in good shape. All right, 13 was the next question. This is exactly the same question as the softball example we had in our notes. It's just obviously different numbers, dealing with a baseball diamond, and of course a diamond being a square. So if you were to draw just a rough picture of a baseball diamond, each base length is 90 feet. The question's asking if you throw from home plate to second base, how far is that? And again, they want this to the nearest I guess they went to the nearest foot. So you have your triangle. It's a 45, 45, 90. Your legs are 90. It means your hypotenuse, which is I cut this triangle in half and pulled it out. So this is 90 It's whatever the leg is times radical 2. So this is the exact answer. But again, like I said in the notes, you're not going to tell the catcher, hey, you got to throw this ball 90 radical 2 feet. He's going to look at you like you have 3 heads. What you're going to do instead is you're going to type in your calculator 90 times square root or radical 2, and it will spit out about 127 feet. I think it's a little bit more than that, but I think when you round to the nearest foot, I think it's 127. I'm sorry, it's 127.27, and so if you round that to the nearest foot, we'll just call it 127. Okay? And then lastly, this one I think is the hardest one. A child climbs 8 feet to get to the top of a slide. The end of the slide is 1 foot above the ground. If the slide raises at a 45-degree level, if the slide makes a straight line from top to bottom, how far do you travel down the slide? So here's our ladder. Here's our slide. And it's going to end 1 foot above the ground, and it makes a 45-degree angle. So you have a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Now, from this line up is not 8 feet. Okay? The whole thing, this whole ladder is 8 feet. The slide stops a foot short of the ground, so this is really only 7. So your leg, if this is your right triangle, your 45, 45, 90 triangle, your leg's really 7, which means your other leg's really 7. So if you were to make your table, each leg is 7, which means the hypotenuse is 7 radical 2. Well, if you type that in your calculator, if you type 7 times radical 2, you get 9.89, so to the nearest foot it would be 10 feet. Okay? That was all the questions I had through 2 o'clock here on Thursday afternoon. If you have any more questions on different problems or more questions than the ones I went over, just email me, SnyderE@nhsd.net.